Once again, I welcome you to Slope Media. From Nairobi, now we are coming down to South Africa. The matter of xenophobia. We have this topic around international media for a while, and today we choose to go down south, the land of Mandiba, the land of Mandela. And it is a pity that just a few years after the death of Mandela, Nelson Mandela, that legend of Africa, honored, respected across the world, that today we can talk of xenophobia in South Africa. And my question is this, as a beginner, this is a question. Why should a fellow African fear another African? Because the hatred, the fear is against blacks. It is mainly against blacks. A few short years ago, we were fighting apartheid. And the South African nation, they got a lot of support from other Africans, from Zimbabwe, from Zambia, Kaunda. You remember Kaunda? Mugabe, the late Mugabe. They all supported Nyerere. He actually he gave refuge to a lot of the South African freedom fighters, Walter Sisulu's of that time, the Thabo Mbekis. They had their hiatus in Tanzania. So many African countries offered support to South Africa. They got support globally. They got support from India. They got support from other nationalities. And they were able to overcome, through the leadership of Mandela and others, the apartheid system that so much subjugated the black African person in South Africa. And finally, we shouted Uhuru. And I remember Mandela saying, a luta continua during the fight. But finally, there was joy. There was a lot of celebration in Africa, African capitals. A lot of these presidents and leaders, they were there when Mandela was sworn in as the first black and African president of South Africa. And even though the whites were not chased from South Africa, then South Africa became the rainbow nation, the nation that is accommodative, the nation that has place for all races, for all nationalities, for all colors, the nation that was weaved out of, the suffering of many, the deaths of many that died fighting for that freedom. And we said freedom has come. We said freedom has come. And surely freedom came. But now, a few years later, we see divisions, we see schisms, we see a lot of fractures within the fabric of the South African Republic. We are seeing a new virus that has come that we cannot tell where it has come from, that a fellow black is destroying the businesses of another black, that Zimbabweans are not wanted, Nigerians are chased out of that land, that even some nations have sent planes, to carry their people from South Africa because they are being attacked, they are being traumatized, their businesses are getting broken and stolen and burnt, they are beaten, they are chased out of their places because they are South African black people. And I'm talking to black people who are hating fellow blacks. When did we come this low? When did we arrive here? I am Kenyan, and I would like to come to South Africa. I would like to see South Africans and our friends from South Africa. Some of them have come here, and we have shared meals. I didn't feel threatened by them. I saw a brother. And even when we go outside of Africa, in Europe, when you see a fellow black, you see a brother, you see a sister. You see a sister. We belong to the same continent. God has placed us here. We cannot be hated by the rest of the world, by the rest of the people, and we come to hate each other. It is unthinkable. I think if Mandela rose from the grave, he would want to go back if he saw what is happening today. You are blessed. Your economy has been the most powerful in Africa for many years. You have technology. You have a blending of the white and the black. You have the Asians in your country. And then the blacks. And the blacks are in leadership. I want to speak even to the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, that it cannot be that South Africa today, the biggest problem we have is blacks fighting blacks, fellow Africans at war. The gods are not happy. It cannot be that this is the far we have gone, how far down the drain we have come. We have no shame. We have no honor. Most South Africans were housed in capitals of other countries in Africa. In black Africa, I talked about Tanzania. Mwalimu Nyerere accommodated and even trained the Umkhonto weSizwe, the fighters of freedom from South Africa. He gave them refuge. How can it be that today you can rise against fellow blacks? We can have this kind of stories coming from South Africa. The others must be laughing at us and saying, look at them. They presented a picture of unity, but they are divided. We cannot allow that. I want to come back to the topic and mention a few things. I mean, having foreigners in your land, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Are there benefits of having foreigners? I come from Kenya here. In Kenya, for many years, we have had foreigners coming either because their countries at war, there is no peace. We have many Congolese who have lived in Nairobi, in the cities of our nation, and they do businesses here. We have Somali people who have come and stayed and actually bought property in Kenya, in Nairobi, and they have been accepted. We have people from Congo. We have people from Uganda. When Uganda had, a lot of war in the 70s and 80s, they came, they worked here. I have personally been taught by Dr. Austin Bukenya, who was a refugee from Uganda. In those days of Idi Amin, he came and he worked in our institutions. He taught at Machakos Girls. He taught at Kenyatta University. He has enriched our literature, our body fabric, our culture. He has. And there are many Bukenyas in this country. I want to talk to somebody in South Africa watching this and say that blend of different ideas, nationalities, cultures is what we need as an African continent. Those people who are doing business there, Kenyans have opened businesses there, Nigerians have come, Zambians are there, Ethiopians are there. They have done things that probably South Africans could not do. There is, of course, money that the nation of South Africa earns through taxes, through them staying in your hotels. There are things that foreigners, there are good things, there are benefits that foreigners bring to a nation like yours. And when they close those businesses, when they are chased away, are you sure that South Africans will open those businesses and cause the vibrancy that has been there? Where is the spirit of diversity, unity in diversity? And that is where we are wrong. I mean, as in Kenya, you have seen people who have come and started businesses here. They are neither Kenyans. Some of them are not even East Africans. But those businesses have employed Kenyans. I have a friend of mine who has established a business here in Kenya for hospitality. He's from Turkey. And he has employed Kenyans. I wish the conversation in South Africa was that those foreigners who establish businesses there, probably they will employ 80% of the workforce from South Africa. The argument has been there that they are taking our jobs. But a lot of them are creating jobs instead. When they are chased away, you are the poorer, because those jobs are exported to other places. The world has become a global village that someone can work and do business in different places. I think Africa has come to a point where instead of building walls of division, we need to build bridges. You brothers, you sisters, don't fear, fellow Africans. We come because we are one. We are one nation. Where is the spirit of Pan-Africanism? The spirit of Kwame Nkrumah? The spirit of Julius Nyerere? The spirit of Jomo Kenyatta? Where is the spirit of our fathers who are fighting for one Africa? Where is our spirit? And a little later, the late Muammar Gaddafi was fighting for one Africa, for our United States of Africa. Where is that spirit of Pan-Africanism? What is the EU doing? African Union, what are you doing to cement and build the spirit of Africanism? The Ubuntu spirit, the spirit that knows I am because we are. I care about my brother. Huh? Where is that spirit? What happened to us? What happened to us? I want to ask, can we live as an island? Can Kenyans live without depending on others? For example, in East Africa here, most of our exports are to Uganda, and similarly, Uganda exports to us. If then we don't want Ugandans to do business in Kenya, it means we lose business. I thought we have come to a time when we break those barriers, when South Africa can trade with Kenya, Zambia can trade with Angola, Angola can trade with Nigeria. The intra-trade in Africa is only at a paltry 12%, whereas in Europe, their intra-trade, trade between the nations of Europe, is above 70%. If we continue building these walls, what will happen of us? Will we have an opportunity to build our economies? Will we benefit from what Nigeria has? For example, presently, we have this problem of oil. I am happy that Nigerian refineries, Dangote refineries, are helping fellow African countries to get oil when they cannot get it from the Gulf. South Africa could have done another product that we can buy from there. Kenya will have another product. Ghana has another product. Ethiopia has another product. We are importing power from Ethiopia because Ethiopia has excess power. What is it that you have as South Africans that you can share, you can sell to fellow Africans and grow your economy? I won't dare to say that Africa will remain irrelevant if we cannot raise our economies to compete with the West, with Asia. With Asia. We need continental, trade. We need policies that encourage trade in Africa. We need infrastructure that encourage movement of people and goods. We need actually to have a visa-less movement from one nation to another. And now instead of moving forwards, when Europe is coming together, we have the European Union. When Asia is coming together, when other places are coming together, here in Africa, we are building boundaries and walls. I think we don't have room for apartheid again. Apartheid is gone. We need to move on and get to another point. I want to say that xenophobia is a barrier to foreign relations between our nations. How can we then build bridges and be one people if we are building barriers? And I think the challenge is the black South Africans, they have gone for too long under apartheid. And the mandate of the leadership that we have in South Africa, I think should include building capacity for the black Africans. Have they had a fair share in education? Do they have skills so that they can compete with others? The fact that probably Nigerians are more educated or Kenyans are more tech savvy does not mean that South Africans should fight them. I think it's an opportunity for the leadership to offer opportunity to young South Africans to build their capacity, to learn technology, to be tech savvy, to know how to survive and thrive in a changing and dynamic world in the digital space. You cannot block yourselves. You cannot just be an island to yourself. We live in a global village. What happens in America affects South Africa. What happens in Nigeria affects Kenya. We must accept that the world has changed and we cannot go back 50 years and build walls. It is a shame. It's a big shame. And I repeat again, it's shameful. It is shameful that a fellow African can beat another African and chase them from their land because they fear competition. Nations should expand their education and remodel their education to fit the needs of the present day. Technology is key. We must teach our people to compete, to do business, to be innovators and creators of our tomorrow. And I look forward to a time when Africa will be one nation, united, trading together, helping one another, when our resources can be used to manufacture cars and to manufacture phones, to manufacture equipments in Africa, to manufacture what we need to manufacture here so that we don't have to import. When the West, the whites, the East can come to Africa to buy from us because we are united and our unity is strength. We have the resources. We have the human resource. We have the natural resources. We have the good environment and the good weather. What remains is for us to have a unity of purpose. And I think that when we fear one another, we are the poorer. We are the worse. And I think the EU and the presidents of Africa must sit together and have a candid conversation and ask what went wrong. I want to prick the souls of our brothers and sisters in South Africa. Listen to me. The rest of Africa is not the cause of your trouble. Instead of looking outwards, look inwards. The solution is inside, not outside. You could be the problem yourself. When you find yourself wired to fight another black, you are the problem. And I dare say, a time has come that we have the correct diagnosis of the problem. Because then the correct diagnosis will give us the correct prognosis. You cannot give the right treatment if you have not diagnosed what the problem is. If then we don't know what the problem is, how will we treat a problem we do not know? And I dare say, if there is poverty in segments of South African population, that must be addressed. If some of them feel left behind, that must be addressed. Their exclusion or marginalization is not a product of foreigners in South Africa. When tourists come to South Africa, Pretoria, they come to give you money. They spend there. We spend when we come. We eat in your hotel. We spend in your hotels. We will use your infrastructure, for movement and for other things. And so as we do that and shop, we are enriching your economy. And so foreigners are not a problem. And where you have less capacity, if a foreigner can come and teach what a South African cannot teach in your university, you are the better for it. You are the better for it. And so the source of that fear is because we have not understood the problem. And so this is a parting shot. South Africans, open your doors, open your borders, open your boundaries. You are not an island. You are an African nation. And Africa needs you as much as you need Africa. It is a shame that you chase away a fellow African because you fear they are taking your opportunity. Nobody is taking your opportunity. We are creating an opportunity. And this is my parting shot. I have a friend who has started a school in one of your cities in South Africa. And because of xenophobia, a situation was created, the school could not continue. He couldn't even sell the school. Barriers were created. He couldn't get the licenses. And he had to come back to Kenya. For how long will this continue? I want to challenge the leadership in South Africa. And I have heard the EFF leader speak. And there are things he has said, and I agree with them, that we cannot go that path. We cannot go that path, South Africa. You are better than that. You are better than that. You have born sons and daughters who have shown a better pathway than that. We all loved Mandela, and we felt he is our own. He is our own. If Mandela could break the ranks and sit down and talk with his adversary, and he was able to negotiate with de Klerk and agree on forming the Rainbow Nation. Who are you? Who are you now? Who are you to build wars where your fathers, where your patriarchs were building bridges? They built bridges. They built bridges. May we turn back from that precipice and build bridges and have a handshake of other nationalities. And that is my take. Thank you.